we definitely had this narrative gifted to us, especially as children, to be nice to everybody, to share with everybody, to do the right thing. And I think that many of those personality traits then creep in to how we run our businesses. And what ends up happening is we don't end up talking to the right people because we're too busy trying to please everybody and be all the things for all the people, that it gets diluted, that it gets a bit lukewarm. You know, when you have a cordial, a orange squash or something like that, you need a good amount of the orange squash for it to taste like orange squash. Otherwise, it's just kind of like slightly watery orange. And when I used to do like choirs around churches when I was a kid, like you'd sometimes like drink the orange squash and be like, oh no, it's a bit warm, it's very weak, or no, it just didn't taste well. And this is what we have to think about in terms of your positioning and how you're putting yourself out there. I know you want to help many more people. I know you want to do all of the things. But I also know that if you operate just from that place, you're not going to have that ability to go broader and wider and deeper. I learned this certainly when I was a new parent. So you could go to group setups and they could give you this generic information about how your child should be sleeping. And I used to come away thinking, my child doesn't do any of that. That's not an occurrence. Whereas if I spoke to somebody one-on-one, I would have that much more bespoke experience. And so if you're struggling to really drill down on who you're trying to connect with, who you're trying to bond with, who you're trying to convert, I want you to flip the question around. So if you can't decide, if you're struggling to niche, ask yourself who is definitely out of the picture. Okay, so then maybe it might be an age gap. Like, well, I'm not really talking to people in their 70s, for example. Or I'm not really talking to people who don't like dogs or who are allergic to dogs. Like, they're not, as a dog walker, they're really not my people. Oh, okay, so therefore I need to do X, Y, and Z. I think this thing of niching sometimes feels like I've got a niche or I haven't. And sometimes it's just going through the refining, the defining process. There's a whole module on ideal clients inside your digital disco, and you can save 20% off at the moment if you add magic in at checkout.